She thought she had escaped him forever. The bruises were fading. The house was quiet. And for the first time in years, she felt safe. But on one quiet evening, while washing dishes in a rich man's home, a phone rang, and her whole body froze. The voice on the other end was the one she feared most. The man who once owned her pain. The man who said he was coming to take her back. She did not know the child was watching her hands shake. She did not know the silent boy had seen her scars. And she did not know that in a few moments, a single word from that child would change all their lives forever. Angela stood at the wide kitchen sink, her hands moving slowly through warm, soapy water. The plates clinked softly as she washed them one by one. Outside the tall windows, the evening light rested gently on the green lawn. This house was large, clean, and quiet, too quiet sometimes. But Angela liked it that way. Quiet felt safe. Quiet meant no shouting, no sudden anger, no footsteps coming too fast behind her. She wore a long-sleeved shirt even though the day had been warm. She always did. Under the cloth, faint marks still lived on her skin. They were no longer dark, no longer fresh, but they were still there. She had learned how to hide them, how to move in ways that kept them unseen. She had learned many things in her old life, lessons she never wanted to learn. The front door opened, and Angela heard it clearly. Daniel Brooks was home. She did not turn right away. She finished rinsing the plate in her hands, placed it carefully on the rack, then dried her fingers on a towel. Daniel always came home around the same time. Always calm, always steady. He never slammed doors. He never raised his voice. That alone made this job feel different from anything she had known before. "Good evening, Angela," Daniel said as he stepped into the kitchen, loosening his tie. "Good evening, sir," she replied softly. He nodded and gave a small smile, then glanced toward the kitchen counter. His son was there, like always. Noah sat on the tall stool, his legs hanging down, his coloring book spread out in front of him. His brown hair fell gently over his forehead. He held a crayon carefully, moving it across the page with slow focus. He did not look up when his father entered. He did not say a word. He never did. Angela glanced at him and felt that same pull in her chest she felt every day. The boy had been silent for 2 years, ever since his mother passed away. Daniel had explained it on Angela's first day, his voice quiet, his eyes tired. "There is nothing wrong with him," he had said. "Doctors say his body is fine. He just stopped speaking." Angela had understood more than she let on. Silence was something she knew well. As she turned back to the counter to prepare dinner, she spoke gently, not expecting an answer. "That looks nice, Noah," she said. "Is that a house you're drawing?" Noah did not answer, but his hand paused. He lifted his eyes for a brief moment and looked at her. Not through her, but at her. Then he looked back down and kept coloring. Angela smiled to herself and reached for the knife to cut vegetables. She moved slowly, careful as always. But her hand slipped. "Oh," she whispered. The knife nicked her finger. A thin line opened on her skin, and red rose quickly. Angela pulled her hand back, her breath catching. She reached for a towel, but before she could grab one, small hands touched her wrist. She turned and saw Noah standing beside her. He had climbed down from his stool without a sound. He held her hand gently and guided it toward the sink, just like someone had once done for him. "It's okay," Angela said softly. "It's just a small cut." Noah did not look at the blood. He looked at her face, then his eyes dropped to her arms. Her sleeve had slipped up slightly. The faded marks were there, not fully hidden. Angela pulled her arm back quickly and tugged the sleeve down. Her chest felt tight. She did not want questions. She did not want memories. Daniel stepped closer. Having noticed the movement, "Are you all right?" he asked. "Yes, sir," Angela said quickly. "Just a small accident." Daniel nodded. but his eyes lingered. He saw the way she held her arm close, the way her shoulders curved inward. He did not speak, but he noticed. The days that followed were quiet, but something had changed. Noah stayed closer to Angela now. When she folded laundry, he sat beside her, handing her clips. When she swept the floor, he followed behind, moving the broom like he was helping. He never spoke, but he watched her carefully, as if learning her. One afternoon, as Angela cleaned the living room, she began to hum. It was a song her grandmother used to sing, slow and gentle. She did not even realize she was doing it until she felt Noah standing beside her. He was very close, so close she could feel his warmth. "My grandma sang this," Angela said softly. "She used to say that light always comes back, no matter how dark it feels." Noah reached out and took her hand. He just held it. Angela felt tears fill her eyes, but she did not cry. She squeezed his hand back. Then came the evening that broke everything open. Daniel came home early. Angela was washing dishes again. Noah sat at the counter doing homework. The phone rang. Angela dried her hands and answered. "Hello," she said. The voice on the other end stole the air from her chest. "Don't hang up," the man growled. "I know where you are now." Her hand began to shake. "Please," she whispered. "Leave me alone." "You belong to me," he said. "I'm coming." The line went dead. Angela stood frozen, the phone still pressed to her ear. Tears slid down her face before she even felt them. "Angela," Daniel said gently from the doorway. She turned, shame filling her. "I'm sorry," she said. "I should go." Before Daniel could speak, a small hand slipped into hers. Noah stood there, looking up at her, his eyes steady. Angela felt Noah's small hand holding hers, steady and warm, as if he was the one giving comfort instead of asking for it. She looked down at him, her mouth opening, but no words came out. Her chest felt tight, and her legs felt weak. Daniel stepped fully into the kitchen now. He could see Angela's face clearly, the tears she had not wiped away, the fear she was trying and failing to hide. He looked at the phone in her hand, then at Noah standing so close to her side. "What happened?" Daniel asked softly, but his voice carried weight. Angela swallowed. "It was nothing," she said. "I just need to leave. I don't want to bring trouble here." "No," Daniel said calmly. "You are not leaving like this. Sit down." She shook her head. "Please, sir. I can handle it." Before Daniel could reply, Noah lifted his other hand and touched Angela's arm, right where the sleeve covered her skin. He pressed lightly, not hurting her, just touching. Angela's breath caught. She felt the memory rush back, the shouting, the tight grip, the fear of saying the wrong thing. "Noah," Daniel said gently, "come here." But Noah did not move. He looked up at Angela. Then slowly, carefully, he spoke. "Who hurt you, Mommy?" he asked. The word fell into the room and did not move. "Mommy." Angela dropped to her knees. She wrapped her arms around Noah, holding him close as tears finally broke free. She cried without trying to stop it. She cried for the pain she had carried alone, for the fear that followed her everywhere, for the child in her arms who had just given her something she never thought she would have. Daniel felt his legs weaken. He stared at his son, at the boy who had not spoken in 2 years, who now stood firm and brave, protecting someone else. "Noah," Daniel whispered, "you spoke." Noah turned his head slightly toward his father, still holding Angela. "Daddy," he said slowly, "don't let anyone hurt Mommy again." Daniel knelt beside them. His hand rested on Angela's shoulder, respectful and steady. "No one will," he said. "I promise." That night felt different from every other night in that house. After Noah was tucked into bed, after he fell asleep holding Angela's hand longer than usual, Daniel and Angela sat across from each other in the living room. The room was quiet, but not empty. The lamp glowed softly. Angela held a cup of tea in both hands, though she had not taken a sip. "You don't have to tell me anything you don't want to," Daniel said. "But I want to help." Angela took a slow breath. "I was married for 10 years," she began. "At first, he was kind. Then he changed. Or maybe he always was this way, and I just didn't see it." She spoke slowly, choosing simple words. She told him about the control, the shouting, the nights she slept afraid, the times she covered her arms and face. She told him about leaving with nothing but a bag and a hope that she would not be followed. "He said he owns me," she said quietly. "Tonight, he said he found me." Daniel listened. He did not interrupt. His face showed anger, but it was controlled. When she finished, he nodded once. "You are safe here," he said. "Tomorrow, we will speak to my lawyer. We will get protection. You will not face this alone." Angela nodded, tears filling her eyes again. But this time, they felt different. The days after moved slowly, but each one brought small changes. Daniel arranged security. He filed papers. He made sure Angela was never alone when she left the house. Noah changed too. He began speaking in small pieces. 1 word in the morning, 2 at dinner. He laughed once. A soft sound that made Angela stop and stare. He called her mommy without thinking. Angela tried to correct him once, but the look on his face stopped her. She let it stay. One afternoon, Angela found a drawing on the kitchen counter. It was a picture of 3 people holding hands. One was tall, one was small, and one stood in between. "Who is this?" she asked gently. Noah pointed. "Daddy," he said. Then he pointed to her. "Mommy." Then himself. "Me." Her heart felt full and heavy at the same time. Daniel watched from the doorway, seeing the bond that had grown without noise, without force. One evening at dinner, Noah looked up from his plate. "Daddy," he said, "can Mommy stay? Can Mommy stay?" Daniel looked at Angela. "Would you like that?" he asked softly. Angela's voice was quiet but sure. "Yes," she said. Daniel smiled. For the first time since his wife passed, it reached his eyes. Outside, the night settled over the house, calm and still, as if it too was waiting for what would come next. The house felt different after that night. Not louder, not brighter, but fuller. Like something missing had quietly returned. Angela noticed it in small ways. Noah woke up asking for breakfast instead of sitting in silence. Daniel stayed longer at the table instead of rushing off to work. The air carried less fear. Still, Angela did not forget the threat. Every time the phone rang, her body tensed. Every unfamiliar sound made her pause. Daniel noticed this. He never asked her to hide it. He adjusted things instead. Cameras were added. The gate was fixed. A guard came at night. Not to scare her, but to protect her. 2 days later, Daniel took her to his lawyer's office. Angela sat with her hands folded, her shoulders stiff. She told her story again, slowly, clearly. The lawyer listened, wrote things down, and nodded. Papers were prepared. A restraining order was filed. When Angela signed her name, her hand shook. But when she finished, she felt something lift. That evening, Daniel told Noah in simple words that no one was allowed to hurt Mommy. Noah listened carefully. He nodded and said, "Okay." That was all. But that night, he slept without waking. Days turned into weeks. Weeks turned into months. Life settled into a new rhythm. Angela no longer felt like a guest waiting to be sent away. She felt needed. She felt seen. Noah's words grew stronger. At first, he spoke only to Angela. Then one morning, he spoke to his father without looking down. "Daddy," he said, "can we go to the park?" Daniel froze, then smiled, slow and careful. "Yes," he said, "we can." At the park, Angela watched Noah run, laugh, and fall, then stand again. She sat on a bench, her hands resting in her lap, and felt something warm fill her chest. She had lost many things in her life, but here, she had found something new. Daniel watched her watching Noah. He saw how she stayed close without holding tight, how she let the boy grow without fear. He realized that she had not just helped his son speak again, she had taught him how to feel safe. One evening, as rain tapped softly against the windows, Daniel and Angela sat in the living room. Noah was asleep upstairs. The house was quiet. "I want to ask you something," Daniel said. Angela looked up. "Okay. I know this started as a job," he said. "But what you are to Noah, what you are to this house, it's more than that." Angela listened, her hands resting calmly now. "I don't want you to feel trapped," Daniel continued. "I don't want you to stay because you are afraid to leave." Angela nodded. "I understand. I want you to stay," he said, "because you choose to." She looked at him then, really looked at him. She saw respect, not control, care, not demand. "I choose to stay," she said softly. Daniel let out a breath he did not know he was holding. Life continued, steady and kind. Angela enrolled Noah in school. The first day, he held her hand tightly. When the teacher asked his name, he spoke clearly. Angela felt tears rise, but she smiled instead. Daniel stood at the doorway, watching his son step into a world that once felt closed to him. The past did not disappear. Angela still had moments when memories returned, but now, she did not face them alone. When fear crept in, she spoke. When she felt weak, she rested. No one shouted. No one blamed her. One afternoon, a letter arrived. Angela froze when she saw the name. Daniel stood beside her. "You don't have to open it," he said. She took a breath. "I want to." It was a notice. Her ex-husband had been warned. He was ordered to stay away. If he broke it, there would be consequences. Angela sat down and cried. Not from fear, but from relief. That night, Noah climbed into her lap and rested his head on her chest. "Mommy," he said, "you're safe." She kissed his hair. "Yes," she whispered. "We all are." Weeks later, at dinner, Noah asked a question that stopped them both. "Daddy," he said, "are you and Mommy family?" Daniel looked at Angela. He did not rush. He did not speak first. Angela felt her heart move in her chest. She reached for Daniel's hand, just lightly. "Yes," Daniel said finally. "We are." Noah smiled, wide and free. Time passed. Seasons changed. Angela's laughter returned. Daniel's home felt alive. Noah grew, learning words, learning trust. One evening, as the sun lowered outside, Angela stood at the kitchen sink again. But this time, her shoulders were relaxed. Her sleeves were rolled up. The marks were almost gone. Noah sat at the counter, talking about his day. Daniel leaned against the doorway, listening. Angela looked at them both and understood something simple and true. She did not escape her past to be alone. She survived it to find this. And in this house, built on patience and care, they did not just heal. They became a family. Dear viewers, this story is not just about a woman who escaped pain, or a child who found his voice again. It is about how kindness can heal places that fear once lived in. It reminds us that safety can change a life, that gentle hands can speak louder than loud words, and that love does not always come from where we expect it. Sometimes, the people who are broken the most are the ones who build the strongest families. If this story touched your heart, take a moment and tell us in the comments where you are watching from, and what lesson you learned from this journey. Your words may help someone else who is going through a hard time feel less alone. Please remember to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share this story with someone who needs hope today. And if you want more deep, emotional stories like this, comment more stories, and you will be the first to receive our next powerful story.